Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. Yeah, episode 487. That's kind of ridiculous. I've been out here recording every week for 487 episodes, which just kind of melts my brain a little bit. But so that means there's 486 episodes in our back catalogue. So yeah, do take some time and delve through the archives. There's a lot of good stuff there. Yeah. And you might have seen by the title of this week's episode, by the way, we're getting into the world of performance anxiety. Yeah. Now, this is a topic that we have talked about before on the Big Rab Show. I'm aware of that. But that was like at episode 283, 284, something like that. It was a brave while ago, over 200 episodes ago. And we thought now would be a good time to revisit this subject. Yeah. And we have some new, interesting insight into the mental side of piping and drumming. And we're about to get into that in this week's topic. But before we get that far, I just have to go through our introductions. You know, for those of them out there who are just discovering our pod for the first time, if you are, welcome. We are the Big Rab Show. We're the show for the bagpiping folk, and we reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the Great Highland Bagpipe and its people. And yes, like every other podcast under the sun, it's kind of a cliche. We do have a Patreon, all right? Now, we are rightfully proud of our Patreon faithful because they really do help support our show in a lot of ways. Yeah. And as a result of that click of support, you do get your hands on loads of extras. Yeah, you get our monthly documentary series of behind the scenes here at the Big Rab Show. You also get episodes of Rab Show Plus. You get our weekly Fuse FM Ballymoney radio show. If you happen to miss it live, you can download it on Patreon over there. So that's awesome. Last night's show was a cracker, by the way. Did a lot of great crack. Yeah, so much fun. A lot of good tunes played last night in Fuse. I'm still buzzing from that one. Good show. So if you do want to check that out, it's over there on Patreon. But there's a lot of exclusive stuff. Yeah, like behind-the-scenes kind of things at gigs and concerts and whatnot. Go and check it out. So if you do decide to click on the link that's in your show notes right now and do support us on Patreon, well, you'll immediately be awesome.
The Patreon faithful are awesome.
Yes, they are. So if you do want to click support, there is a link, as I say. Go for it. You can go and check her out, have a hook around, see if there's enough content there for you to enjoy. And every click of support does mean the world to us here on the Big Rab Show. All right, let's kick off this week's episode good and proper. Now, each and every episode always starts the same way. Most times, unless it's a special episode, listener mail. Our email address hasn't changed from the start of the show, which is bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Right, we got a message here from Kaelan, I think. Yeah, Kaelan Martin. It says, "Hi Rab, I hope this message finds you well. I was wondering if you could give a shout to the Harry Ferguson Memorial Band playing at Balmoral on Saturday." Now, I believe that's Saturday 16th. There you go. Yeah, celebrating 80 years of the Ferguson tractor. Special mentions go to David Gill and Gary Nolan for their hard work and preparations and organisation. Also, Sammy Gill from Upper Crossgar for dedicating time and effort on a Friday night. There you are. Shout out to all of you. I've played pipes for 20 plus years, and due to other commitments, it was on the back burner for a long period of time. Having joined the band about 7 or 8 months ago, it has reinvigorated my passion for the instrument. Best wishes, Kaelan. Now, isn't that brilliant? I love stories like that. And yeah, best of luck for your gig this weekend. Yeah, celebrating 80 years of the Fergie tractor. Brilliant. That deserves a round of applause right there. Yes, shout out to the Harry Ferguson Memorial Pipe Band. Brilliant stuff. And I'm glad that you have the pipes under your arm again. That's fantastic. So yeah, Great to see it. Other listener mail that we got was following still previous episodes. People seem to be playing catch up, really. Yeah. Some people had questions about, let me see, the volunteers episode and where can they find the postscript, because I think we must have mentioned that over on that episode. So, yeah, postscript is a Patreon exclusive. So if you do want to find out what we said after the microphone gets switched off, well, yeah, you can go and check out the postscript. That's exclusive to Patreon, where we do have extra content from the volunteers episode. That was a while ago. Yeah. Also, we got some questions asking about tunes that were played during the Kids with Cancer night, so we've done our best to give you a list of those. That was quite a few episodes ago now. It was the start of April. Yeah. Now, but just I wanted to answer some also questions that we got about piping in South Africa. We got a number of questions about our coverage from the South African scene. People are very keenly aware that competitions have been happening in South Africa. And yes, our correspondent out there, Siobhan, is doing what she can to try and get the videos to us, but it's proved to be quite difficult. She's been incredibly busy with her own band and her job and everything, with tuition of kids with piping and drumming. So it's been challenging. So we're going to do our best to get our coverage from the South African scene up there on our socials, on our YouTube channel when we can. All right, we are working on it, okay? It's proving difficult, but we are working on it. So for those of you asking questions about the competition scene in South Africa, we will hopefully have updates in the near future. There you are. But we are doing our best to share out performances whenever we find them, and of course the all-important results of who won what and where. And yeah, we're keeping you up to date on what's happening there in South Africa. So my advice, stay tuned. That's all we can say for now. Yeah. All right, folks, that's pretty much it for listener mail. Other stuff was all sort of planning things for future episodes. We got quite a number of questions following last week's announcement about Big Rab Show Live. A lot of people had questions about the ticketing. Yeah, do you need to get a ticket to see Rab Show Live? Well, yes, you need to get a festival pass, is my advice. So the festival pass entitles you to go to every event at Piping Live. And then there's additional tickets for some of those high ticket items, if you know what I mean. So the likes of the International Quartets, for example, or the Alistair Gillis Memorial, things like that, competitions like that, or special events do have a further ticketing price. My advice is to go along to pipinglive.co.uk. I got an email from them just yesterday saying that our new website's going to be launching. So by the time you're listening to this, the website should be launching hopefully before the weekend, with full details of the festival and all of your ticket information all in one place. But for now, if you are wanting to go to Rab Show Live, my advice, pipinglive.co.uk, and go and buy a ticket for the Thursday for the National Piping Centre site. All right? Because then not only will you get access to Rab Show Live, but you'll get access to the whole thing there at the National Piping Centre. There's a lot more to enjoy than just us. Yeah. So there you go. For people making plans and emailing us and asking for ticket information, brilliant. I can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be such an exciting event, celebrating 500 episodes of the show. It's going to be a big moment. And thank you to all of the well-wishers as well. We did get a lot of great, support from all of you out there following the announcement of episode 500. We are just as excited as you folks are. Genuinely. We can't believe we've hit such a huge milestone. Not yet, but we will. And we can't wait to celebrate it with you folks at Piping Live. Yeah. So there you go. Grab your tickets, pipinglive.co.uk. There you are. Okay, so that's it for listener mail at this point. So I think we should fly on with our next feature, which is Weekly Drone. Yeah, if you are anyways confused about Weekly Drone, you can go to our website to get more information, thebigrabshow.com. That's that big button at the top of the page that says Weekly Drone, and you can click on that, and all it is an empty space for you to tell us your stories, your opinions, your thoughts, all of it, warts and all, and you can let us have it here in the show. JD will then grab your email, record it for us, and then send it in to us here in the studio, and I react to it in real time. Yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes not so much. But do send us in your weekly drones. They're completely anonymous. There's no identifying factors. It's an open microphone to the bagpiping world. And we always love to hear your thoughts. All right, so JD, let's start with the first weekly drone for this week, mate. Go for it. Let us have it.
The weekly drone.
Free PR wanted. Rab, what level of Patreon supporter do I have to be in order for you to mention my band's name for 8 weeks straight, multiple times per episode? There are other bands out there who could use that level of PR service that you're giving to one particular band, and they aren't even a top-tier act. Playing favorites like no one else is worth mentioning? For shame.
Oh, ouch. Someone out there is not happy. I'm not sure what band it is you're referring to. I do mention bands when they, when they have something going on, if there's something to promote, or maybe there's something cool that I've caught in social media, or they're in the news for some reason. That would be the main reason I give bands a shout out here in the show. Or, as you just heard there earlier, I give a shout to the Harry Ferguson Memorial simply because they emailed it in. They were doing something cool this weekend, so deserved a shout. There you go. So, yeah, as for your little jibe there as to what level of Patreon supporter do you need to be, you don't need to be a Patreon supporter at all. I don't know where you got that from, but hey, there's the trombone guy. And as for what level on Patreon, we only have one level. Yeah, we don't do the kind of stepped thing. We don't do that. So, yeah, there is one level of Patreon support, and if you do want to click on it, brilliant. But that, you don't need to be a Patreon supporter to get a shout out to your band. I'm kind of unfortunate you didn't mention your band in the drone, because if you did, we've been giving you a big shout out, Yeah. Anyway, but hi, fair enough. If we are mentioning bands' names more often than we should, 8 times per episode, for example, then that's on me. Fair enough. I'll take my lumps on that. But I am not aware of it, per se. Maybe it's because that band has been in the news or had things going on, etc. And, they're kind of in the know at that point. They're in the news at that point, and that's where everyone's talking about them, perhaps. So I don't know. I don't know the band you're referring to. But, hey, if it has happened, that's on me. Yeah, my bad. So thanks for raising it, Weekly Droner. I'm very curious, though, as to what your band is. I would love to know who or what or where, and then I can give them a shout on the next show. So email me in, bigrabshow@gmail.com, and I'll give your band a shout out for sure. All right, JD, that was a rough one. Give me another one.
The Weekly Drone.
Big mistake. How did Clockfen get their concert so wrong? 1. The price of £25, as another droner raised way back when Rivara and Boghall were 20. And 2. Then to clash with the Northwest 200.
Now, for those of you listening wondering what the Northwest 200 is, that's a motorbike race, and it's quite a big weekend here in Northern Ireland, where a lot of racing fans would head to the northwest of the country, and the entire country, to be fair, gets taken over by motorbikes. Yeah. So it is a huge weekend, and yes, the Clockfin concert did clash with that event. Yeah. Now, you also mentioned the ticket price as well. Now, these are two separate things that you've raised there. The Clockfin gig at the weekend, I'll talk more about this in the news and updates and stuff, I have to say was a roaring success. The band sounded amazing. They were so good. If anything, they unveiled their new medley for 2026 and absolutely lifted the roof off the place. It was insanely good. But also they had Stuart Little there and Stephen McWhirter were given a recital and solo spots and stuff. Was just the last word. It was fantastic. So whenever you're talking about ticket price and everything, genuinely, I think you paid for what you get with this one. Honestly, it was a huge celebration of 100 years of Clockfin Pipe Band, and the audience there were certainly up for the crack. And yeah, being compare in the evening, I was working at it, I guess. I didn't really get much of a chance to sit and actually enjoy it, but watching it from backstage and seeing the music that these folks produced, yeah, honestly, that was worth the price for me. So, but that's just my opinion, and I'm sure, well, that weekly donor clearly isn't happy with the ticket price. But I think it's in and around that mark now for concerts and stuff. It's normally in around the £20, £25 mark, around that for every concert now. So, I don't know, that could be stuff that Rab got wrong. But, yeah, I think that's, I think honestly the ticketing price was not a huge deal, but obviously for that droner it is. But that's just my opinion. As for the clashing with the Northwest 200, well, this concert, in fact, would have been booked almost a year in advance with the venue. The Burnavon Theatre in Cookstown is such a popular venue because of its location, and they do take bookings up to a year, possibly more, in advance. So whenever Clough-Finn would have booked this venue for their concert, they would have had a look at the piping competition season to see when it would start and try to line it up so it didn't clash with any competing bagpiping and drumming. Of course, what happened then is that the Northern Ireland branch released their calendar and turned out that the quartets competition was on the same day. Oops, there we go. But they can't allow for that. This was a booking that was done in the Burnavon. That's it, done. And then as for the Northwest, I believe the Northwest normally happens later in the month. Yeah, because I'm very familiar of pipe band competitions clashing with the Northwest all the time. In fact, it used to happen frequently. So I believe that the Northwest 200 changed their date, and as a result then clashed with the concert. This is a very long explanation for a very simple question, I guess. Yeah, the booking was made over a year ago, and then other events changed their dates, and that's what caused the clash. It was not a result of Clough-Finn's planning. Here you are. Hopefully that answered some questions. That's some of my opinions on the matter. Thank you for your weekly drone, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, what a show. All right, JD, give me another one, mate. One that's a bit more cheery. Cheapers.
The weekly drone.
Low numbers. Rab, the low numbers for the UK Championships aren't all that surprising. We all know the Scots don't travel.
Oh, JD, I thought you were going to give me a cheery one, mate. Wow, everyone's so angry tonight. What's going on? Okay, everyone knows that the Scots don't travel. All right, I went through the draw on a previous podcast, and I was disappointed with the numbers. And yes, looking at the geographical location of a lot of those bands competing at the UK's, yes, you're quite right in saying so, that a lot of the bands from Scotland that we were hoping to see are not making the trip across. Now, there's multiple different reasons for this. Now, very similar for bands not travelling across to the UK's last year and all of, other competitions in Scotland. It's been a financial nightmare for bands of late. You might have noticed that we are kind of in a bit of a cost of living crisis. Yeah, and doing things for pipe bands and for hobbies like this and travelling for competitions and such, it can be a huge challenge for bands, and I'm not even getting into the realm of our international bands who are outside of the UK and have to travel in for our major championships here, which is just hundreds of thousands of pounds. Crazy biscuits. So, yeah, the financial reasons could be possibly one of the biggest, precursors here, I guess. That's preventing bands from traveling. So, as for your comment there, as we all know the Scots don't travel, that's wrong. There has been occasions, plenty of times, where loads of bands from Scotland have travelled across to majors here in Northern Ireland, and we've had a grand old time. If anything, last year we'd not had a number of Scottish bands competing in the All-Irelands. Yeah, there wasn't any majors here last season at all in Northern Ireland, and a number of bands headed across the Irish Sea just to compete at events here in Northern Ireland. It's brilliant. Great to see. So, yeah, I think it's all down to the finances. Let's face it, traveling and hotels and all that ain't cheap, So I completely get it. I understand it. And unlike our weekly droner there that seems to be quite aggrieved with the situation, I understand it. Absolutely. So, right, JD, that was rough, mate. Give me one more. come on, right, there's another one here that just says on the title, rankings. Now, what the heck is this about, JD?
The weekly drone.
Rankings. Rab, we should see if the new pbrankings.uk can do soloists too. It would be quite a task, but if the data is there, it could be done. I'm just curious how I rank. I know it's selfish, but it would be insightful. Also, you guys are doing great. Cheers.
Well, that ended on a slightly positive note. You guys are doing great. Thank you, Droner. Now, as for the rankings, now for anyone who listened to last week's episode, by the way, we got catching up with Billy, talking all about the brand new website, Pipe Band Rankings. And, we talked about how that all works and everything. As for one for soloists, I don't know. Yeah, the solo world is a very different animal when it comes to competition. You have many different jurisdictions. You have various different organizations that run solo events, and they all have their own internal ranking systems. Things that come to mind is the likes of the CLASP or the Scottish Pipers Association, Competitive Scottish Piper. Yeah, that one. I'm losing the way of myself. But yeah, there's so many different solo organizations to try and coordinate results and all of that. That could be huge. And, especially when you look at the scene in the United States where the solo world is absolutely thriving with so many soloists entering in all grades at all of the competitions. Yeah, sometimes the solo competition could take the full day and then the bands are the following day. So I just don't know. With the sheer volume of data that would have to be processed to form any kind of a ranked solo bagpiping catch-all ranking system, I just don't know. Yeah. But hi, your suggestion has been noted, and no doubt Billy will be listening right now. So Billy, that's one for you, mate, to contemplate. How could you tackle that? I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, I reckon there could be one done for the solo drumming. Yeah, I'm just going to drop that little acorn because the solo drumming scene already has a version of that. Yeah, with their Champion of Champions title that they have, and then they award that every October. That's an interesting one, and that hasn't been done before. But it is a way of measuring where you rank, depending on how many events you attend, how you place at each one of those, and then all of your points all stack up, don't they? So, yeah, an interesting drone right there. And Billy, that's a challenge for you, mate, if you're listening. And who knows, that little acorn, you might see that website exist in the near future. You never know. We could have sent Billy down a path now and he started looking at all sorts of different ranking data that they could do for soloists. But that would be interesting. There you are. Folks, I don't know what's going on Weekly Drone this week, but man, were they aggressive and angry. What is happening? Everyone seemed to be so grumpy. Yikes. I don't know. Did I just a rough week at practice or something? I don't know. Anyway, hopefully that's been entertaining. Quite dark, if anything, and finger pointing and such, but yikes. Anyway, that's it for Weekly Drone. If you do want to send in your own, of course, you can do. Go to our website, thebigrabshow.com, that big red button at the top of the page, Weekly Drone. And yeah, let us know your thoughts, opinions, warts and all, and we'll bring them here to the show. Yeah, and you'll get to hear my live reaction. There you go. All right, well, moving on. I think at this point I shall take myself a wee break, but I'll be right back with all of the news and updates. Ever wish you had a piping teacher on call 24/7? Well, now you do. Introducing the Interactive Player, a game-changing new practice tool at Dojo University. Play along with world champion pipers while the notes on your sheet music light up in time. Loop tricky phrases, slow down tough sections, zoom in to focus, and build speed automatically. It's like having a teacher right in your practice room, showing you how to master every tune at your own pace. So sign up for a free trial today at pipersdojo.com and start learning smarter with Dojo U's interactive player. Alrighty, time for the news and updates. And hi, shout out to those folks who support us here in the show. You know, brilliant. Okay, where am I going to start? Well, I have to start with the Clockfin 100-year celebration, which took place in the Burnavon Theatre over the weekend. Now, I did talk about it earlier on. Of course, we got a weekly drawing about it, mentioning the ticket pricing and all of that stuff. But let's talk about the actual concert itself. Clockfin have 100% hit the ground running. Wow. Whenever I actually arrived at the venue, I was greeted by the band already in soundcheck. I was running a bit late. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But, wow. I was treated to a one-to-one performance. It was just me and the folks at Clockfin Band. And Connor says, "Hi, do you want to hear the new medley?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely I do." So the band struck into the new medley and absolutely melted my face. It's a cracking set. So I was told that this will be one of the big highlights of the night, and absolutely that was the case. So we've been building to it throughout the whole evening, and at the very end of the show we said, right, here it is. Here's the new medley for 2026. And wow, did not disappoint. Now, I have been looking online to see if anyone has any sneaky recordings of it. So far, no. I haven't found anything from it, which is very unusual. But I'm going to continue hunting for it because I do know a good number in the audience actually had their phones out recording it, because as soon as they hit that introduction, everyone was like, ooh, this is something else. So, yeah, shout out to Clockfin. What an amazing event. And I also have to talk about Stephen McWhirter and Pipe Major Stuart Little, MBE, who provided a bit of a recital on the evening. They were on stage twice throughout the night, and man. Now, I know these two guys are incredibly busy for good reason, and they're jetting all around the world doing workshops and judging at competitions, etc., and they're both incredibly busy. So I do think to myself, where did they get time to actually practice? But in reality, both of them are actually playing all day, every day. That's all they ever do. And yeah, it shows. Their performances were just absolutely blistering. Now, for those of you who are subscribed to the Big Rab Show on YouTube, you might have seen a little sneaky video of a performance I caught with the two of them, filmed from side of stage. Now, I know I probably shouldn't have done that. I was compere on the evening, so yeah, it's not the best camera angle in the world because I was backstage. But I just thought this was too good to miss. So I had to film a little clip for you. So go up there to the YouTube channel, go and have a watch at it. Absolutely fantastic. Now, full disclosure, I did spend quite a bit of time hanging out with Stuart and Stephen, and honestly, it was a pleasure. It was just such good fun hanging out with them, talking about bands and music for hours. It was just fantastic. And to Clockfin Band for having me there as their compere on the evening, thank you, everyone. It was just such an amazing show. So I am hopeful that we will see future clips and stuff from this. I am aware that there was a videographer on site, so there was video clips actually taken of this. So yeah, do make sure you're following Clockfin Band on their socials, and hopefully we will see some of the fruits of their labour from that one. Yeah. So there you are. Congratulations to Clockfin Pipe Band. 100 years celebrated, I think. And now onwards towards the season. Oh, man, it's exciting times for Clockfin. Anyway, also, not only was the big concert in the Burnavon Theatre, well, I have to give a shout out to our Patreon faithful who's going to get a little behind-the-scenes sneak peek of what went on there, plus some exclusive recordings from that event from the soundcheck. And some of it's incredibly interesting with some special surprise guests. Yeah, anyway, that's exclusive to Patreon. If you have any idea, got any idea of hitting that button, then go ahead. You'll check it out towards the end of the month. That'll be up there on Patreon. All right, let's move on. Not only was the Clockfin concert this past weekend, but also the Mid-Ulster Quartets. Now, there was a bit of a debate on the day at the competition as to when it was the quartets were last, whenever they were last ran. Now, some people reckoned it was the mid-90s. Some said it was late 90s, early 2000s, and some even more recent than that. I don't know, but it has been a long time, suffice to say. With all of the estimates, with people trying to pin it down as to when the quartets last happened, your guess is as good as mine. But to see this event back again on the Northern Ireland calendar, it was just really refreshing. And if anything, it's great to see that it was so well supported as well. A good number of bands actually entering quartets to compete in this. And you talk about a nerve-jangling experience. Oh, man. I'm going to talk about my own experience in this. I was playing with Tullylagan Grade 4B, and they had entered an A band and a B band. I was playing in the B band, and I was absolutely shaking in my brogues. I've never competed in a quartet before in my life, and this was completely new to me. And I was absolutely terrified with nerves. I will hold my hand up and say it. Yeah, I was absolutely quaking. Now, do you know what it was? I'm going to give you the full story. I marched onto the the playing area. I was right behind the PM, and I was fine. Not a problem. I was full of bravery. I said, right, let's do this. Hit my introduction. I'll be fine. And then as soon as I formed up, band attention and everything, I looked up towards the audience, and that's when my nerves went. Man, I shouldn't have looked up, because the second I did, I seen all those eyes looking right at you. And if anything, with having the two judges sitting right in front of you on a table, again, staring at you, was really unsettling. And I've never experienced that as a snare drummer before. So this world of bagpiping, I'm learning all these new dynamics, and that the quartet competition is a tough one. I'll say that. It absolutely does take a level of bravery, and man, I learned a lot from it. So let's talk about the quartets then, shall we? Because there was so much good music played at this. Wow. Right, let's get into the results. Starting with the grade I was competing in, grade 4B. Winners on the day was Tullylagan A. Yes, well done, Tullylagan A. In second place was Hollymount, and in third place was my group, Tullylagan B. There you are. 3 bands in total. A small grade, but there you go. We're in there battling it out anyway. Good stuff. So then on to grade 4A, then there was one band in there where Hollymount had actually played up a step, and they managed to pick up the title there in 4A. Well done, Hollymount. Looking at grade 3B, there was only 2 bands competing in here. 2 quartets entered. One, in first place, winners on the day, were Down Pipes and Drums. It's well done, Down. And in second place was Drumlock. There you are. I actually met the Drumlock lads in the corridor after they had finished their run. Managed to ask them in passing, well, how'd you go? And I think they were all just sweating and just saying, glad that's over. So I don't think I was the only one that was sweating bullets whenever it comes to the nerves. So, hi, Drumlock, you survived. Well done. I picked up a second place there in 3B. Excellent. Moving on to grade 3A then. Winners on the day were the Matt Boyd Memorial A group. Yes, who absolutely thumped a good tune. So well done to the Matt Boyd quartet there. Yeah, the A group. And then in second place was their B group as well. So yeah, quite a dominant show from the Matt Boyd. Well done. Both the A and B group picking up prizes there. In third place was Surla and District A group. Yeah, and in fourth place was the Irvine Memorial B group. There you are. I know it's confusing when bands have to enter A's and B's and everything, so do stick with me. And then, well, I'm doing my best here. So moving on to grade 2 then. Winners on the day were Tullylagan A group. Yes, so our grade 2 guys battling it out there and lifted the top spot. Yeah. In second place was Tullylagan B group. Yeah. In third place then was the Matt Boyd Memorial A group. They played up in grade 2. And in fourth place was the Matt Boyd Memorial B group. There you are. So, yeah, well done to Tullylagan lifting the top spot there in grade 2. And to Matt Boyd then in third and fourth as well. So that's awesome stuff. All right. There was also an open grade on the day. And winners on that were Tullylagan B. Yes, well done. The winners in the second place, in the open grade were Tullylagan A. Yeah, in third place was the Matt Boyd Memorial A group. And then in fourth was the Irvine Memorial A group. There you are. So, yeah, the results for the quartet can be a bit disorientating with all of the A's and B's everywhere. But the full details of all of it, including the summary sheets, are up there now on the rspba.org website. You can go and look at it all. And just well done to every band that had the absolute bravery to stand up there and compete in a quartet. Man, and I have never felt fear like it. I'll say that, honestly. And I do think now that that's the worst that my nerves has ever been in a piping performance, ever. So I'm thinking now that I've had that absolute scare of my life, that the rest of this season could well be a doddle when it comes to nerves. It just couldn't get any worse than that. That could be famous last words right there. Yeah. But anyway, to everyone that did compete at the Mid-Ulster Quartets, well done. You all deserve a thorough pat on the back. Congratulations to everyone. And, of course, to the Mid-Ulster section as well for bringing this back again. Yeah, that's exciting to see it back. And I'm very keen to see how this develops in future years. Yeah, so there you are. Good stuff. Well done, Mid-Ulster branch. Good stuff. All right. Also, speaking of the Mid-Ulster branch, just at the point of me recording this, actually, just last night, the live stream of the draw for the Mid-Ulster Championships it was drawn last night. Streamed live on YouTube, but we are still waiting on that final publication. So you can go and watch the live stream to find out everyone who's playing at the Mid-Ulsters, but the draw just has not yet been published. So we are waiting on that. But yeah, that should be within the next few days. So if you are interested, who's competing at the Mid-Ulsters, that should hopefully be up by the time you're possibly listening to this pod. There you go. Okay, let's get into some more competition results. And of course, this past weekend was Gurrock. Now, you talk about a packed competition. So packed, in fact, that, unfortunately, we weren't able to grab much in the way of any action from the circle. Yeah, unfortunately, Stuart, who was over there competing, just could not find any time in the day to get to Circle and film some bands. He did, however, manage to set up a camera and live stream the all-important results. So we got something from Gurrock. That's important right there. So we done our best, but it was an insanely busy day. And again, I think everyone here has absolutely hit the ground running. Yeah, some of the performances that I have heard, little video clips and stuff that I have seen, it's really impressive. So let's get into the results then, shall we? Starting with Novice B, winners on the day was Oban High School. Yes, well done, Oban. The 2 firsts in piping, a 4th in drumming, however, but a 1st in ensemble overall, and that pulled them into the top spot there. Yeah. In 2nd place was the Stirling and District Schools Junior Band. Yes, well done. In 3rd place then was North Lanarkshire Schools. Well done. And in 4th place was St Columbus School, Kilmacombe. There you are. Now, lifting the drumming on the day was Glasgow Academy, who finished in 5th place overall. There you are. So that's your Novice B. Moving on to Grade 4B then on the day. Yeah, winners were Kilbarkin. Woo! Kilbarkin. Now, yeah, whenever you look at the summary sheets for Grade 4B, it seems to be that all of the judges had a difficult time, and I absolutely love it. This is so good. Shout out to Kilbarkin lifting that top prize. Well done. So, in 2nd place then was Uddingston Strathclyde. Yes, well done, Uddingston. In 3rd was Paisley and District, RBL. Yes, and they also managed to lift the drumming and a 1st place in ensemble as well, I might add. Yeah, so well done to Paisley and District. In 4th place then was the East Kilbride Pipe Band, and that was an ensemble preference. Yeah, well done. A lot of good music to enjoy here. I have actually went back and listened to Kilbarkin Pipe Band and their performance in 4B, and I was very impressed, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of good music being played in here in Grade 4B, so I know a lot of people skip on the lower grades, but trust me, there's a lot of good playing in here. And yeah, shout out to Kilbarkin, Uddingston, Paisley, East Kilbride. The top 4 there were definitely worthy of your time. So yeah, shout out to all of you. Well done. Moving on to Grade 4A then. Winners on the day were North Lanarkshire Schools, who were a Novice A band playing in 4A. So yeah, with ones right across the board. Well done, North Lanarkshire. In 2nd place, an ensemble preference was Denny and Dunny Pace. Yes, well done, Denny. In 3rd place was Renfrewshire Schools. Yes, well done. And in 4th place was Oban High School. There you are. So a couple of Novice A bands playing up in Grade 4A. There you are. So battling it out amongst the other 4A bands that are in there. So yeah, it's very entertaining grade again. And shout out to North Lanarkshire with ones right across. Wow, quite a convincing win there. Well done. Yeah, shout out to North Lanarkshire Schools. Moving on then to the juvenile grade, as we had those novice A bands in there. Winner on the day was North Lanarkshire, and in second place was Renfrewshire Schools. There you are. Moving on to grade 3 then, we just had a flat grade 3, which was a combination of one 3A band and the rest were all from 3B. Well, winners on the day was Govan Pipe Band. Yes. Woohoo! Go on, the Govan. Yeah, Govan Pipe Band managed to finish in the top spot on ensemble preference. Yeah, and in second place was Uddingston Strathclyde. Yeah, there you go. In third place was William Wood, and in fourth place was Kilbarcombe. Yeah. Now, this grade, similar to 4B, they seem to give the judges quite a hard time on this. So, yeah, not an easy grade to judge, I reckon, because I have heard a number of the performances in here, and yeah, all of these bands were absolutely singing on the day. I do have to mention William Wood, actually, and their pipe corps were absolutely singing. I don't know where they've got that sound from, but they've done something over the course of the winter. Oh, man, I don't know if it was a change of setup or tuning approach or just what it was, but the tone that William Wood had in the recording I listened to, man, it was something else. There you are. So, shout out to William Wood. Well done. And, of course, to Uddingston Strathclyde as well. Just pipped to the post there on ensemble preference. And, yeah, done shout out to Govan, who lifted the top prize there in grade 3. Well done. Okay, then on to the ridiculous grade. Oh, now this grade did not disappoint. I tell you what. Wow. I don't know how the judges picked it or how. I don't know, man. So good in here in grade 2. Shout out to Oban, who lifted the top prize overall. 2 firsts in piping, however, second in drumming, second in ensemble, but that was still enough to have them in the top spot there. So well done to Oban. In second place was Denny and Donnypace. Now, they lifted the drumming and the ensemble. However, they had 2/3 in piping. So you can see where the points differences comes in there. There you are. In third place was Colburn IOR. Yeah, another stellar performance. I don't know, some big tunes played. Yeah. And in fourth place was Uddingston Strathclyde, who played up on the day. Now, I did mention Stuart had a busy day that day. So so there he was competing in grade 3, but also in grade 2 as well. Yeah. So well done, the Uddy. There you go. So, as I said, that grade 2, you can listen to any one of those performances in there and be thoroughly entertained. But one of which that I did particularly enjoy was Colburn. I did think that they had a really good introduction, just a strong set all round. I just really enjoyed it. The little clip that I seen was really only like the first set, the first tune, really. Like it was like the first part, like an introduction. And I was just suitably impressed. Yeah, well done. Moving on then to grade 1, winners on the day, and yeah, the crowd that they drew around the venue, Shots and Dykehead. Yeah, and the crowd around them kind of give you a bit of a flavour as to the sound that they were making. It was something special. So well done to Shots, lifting the top spot there in Gurrick's. Good to see them out, getting a run at this point in the season, stretching the legs a little bit in front of the folks with clipboards. Is good to see. Yeah. In second place was Colburn IOR, as I just mentioned earlier. Again, had a real good sound. Could be a band to watch in that ridiculous grade for sure. Yeah, but here they are playing up in grade 1. It's good to see them up there. It's fantastic. In third place then was the Oban Pipe Band, who had already lifted grade 2 earlier in the day and deciding to play again in grade 1. So it's good to see them in the fight there. And in fourth place then on the day in grade 1 was Denny and Donnypace. There you are. So, folks, again, all of these results have been published on the RSPBA website. The full summary sheets is all up there. Go and check it out from Gurrick. Now, as to all those performances and stuff, I've done my best to share them out wherever I've found them. Now, they have been kind of like hen's teeth. There's been a few videos, actually, that I did share on socials, and then the person who posted the video very swiftly deleted them. I don't know what that's about. But, yeah, the video might have been up for maybe a few hours, and then it was taken down. Now, as to the reasons behind it, don't know. But, hi, you know, we stumble across recordings sometimes, and when we do our best to share them out there, to share them with all of you folks listening right now. But sometimes they just get deleted, and there's no recovering them. Anyway, that's the story. Hopefully that answers some questions, saying, Rob, why did you delete the video from Gurrick? So, because it wasn't our video. You know what? Someone else deleted it. There you go. So, well done to everyone at Gurrick. It just seemed to be a roaring start to the season, to be fair. And, standards at this point already. This is, the start of May? And looking at where standards are right now, I would expect it to be a bit shaky. You know, the first competition of the year, you would expect bands just to be kind of feeling their way through sets and stuff, not pushing and driving things and aiming for that top prize already. But from what I could see, bands have definitely hit that circle running. There's no one in there just phoning it in right now. There's no one feeling their way through a set, you know what I mean? But they're absolutely going for it, which is so refreshing to see. So brilliant. Well done to everyone in the circle. What a start to the season. Just exciting. Speaking of starting of the season then, well, of course, next weekend, 23rd of May, here in Northern Ireland is the start of our season. And the draw for the County Fermanagh Championships has been published. Yippee! It has. And it took a little while. We did see the live stream of the draw, and then a good number of days passed before it was actually published. So as to the reason behind that, don't know, but here we are. So let's go through the draw then for County Fermanagh as to what we are as to expect next weekend. Starting with Grade 4B, we have 5 bands in here in total. Yes, we have Joseph Ford Memorial, we have Rafo, Tullylagan, Moyburn, and Breedy Ulster Scots. That's your Grade 4B. Looking at Grade 4A then, you have 9 bands in here in total. Quite a big grade on the day for the first of the season. And you know what? I'm going to give them a huge cheer. The first band on in Grade 4A at the County Fermanagh Championships is Ballybreast. Go on, the Breast! Oh, man, so good to see Ballybreast back again. Team Breast. Yeah, it's been a long time. Ballybreast has been off the road now for a good while, but man, is it good to see them back again. So that's one I definitely would love to see, but I can't because I'm competing at the exact same time they're playing in the other arena. So I'm gutted. So if anyone out there is listening right now and you're going to County Fermanagh, please do me a favour. Someone go and film Ballybreast for me. I would love to hear them. I just have a real soft spot for that band. Unfortunately, I'm competing in the other ring at the other side of the venue. So not going to see them. But there you go. Welcome back, Team Breast. Yeah. Next band in Grade 4A then, we have the Graham Memorial Clontibricht. Yes. And third band on, we have Breedy Ulster Scots. Yeah. And then we have the Queen Elizabeth Pipe Band. Excellent. I think that's, after being newly upgraded and stuff. Yep, good. Best of luck. Then a fifth band on, we have Altnavay Memorial. Then we have Cottown, Moneygore, Grancha, and Marlacoo. And that is your Grade 4A. Yeah. Quite healthy grade in that, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Grade 3B then, well, numbers are starting to go down again. We have 4 bands in here. We have the William Kerr Memorial, Upper Cross Gar, Down Pipes and Drums, and Drumlock. And that's your Grade 3B. Not the biggest grade, but hey, there we go. It's the start of the season. Hopefully that'll improve, I guess, as the season rolls on. There might be a few more entries. Moving on, Grade 3A then, we've 10 bands in here in total. The biggest grade in the entire competition, actually. Yeah, Grade 3A looking very healthy for County Fermanagh. All right, let's go through the bands, shall we? Kicking things off are Clough-Finn. Yes, followed by Kildogue. Drumlock, yeah. Sirlawn District, Major Sinclair Memorial, McNeilstown, the Matt Boyd Memorial, William Kerr Memorial, Down Pipes and Drums, and Irvine Memorial. There you are. So a few bands playing up there, stretching their legs in 3A. It's great to see. 10 bands in total, that's a good grade. Absolutely. Then looking to the ridiculous grades, there's a number of bands playing up in here too, which will be interesting. Yeah, so let's go through them, starting with Kildogue, followed by Major Sinclair Memorial, then the Matt Boyd Memorial, Clough-Finn themselves will be in there, Sirlawn District, Manor Cunningham will be in there as well, McNeilstown and the Irvine Memorial. I think I might have read them out of sequence there. But yeah, brilliant to see Manor Cunningham and a number of other bands in there absolutely playing up and stretching their legs. Grade 2, 8 bands in total. That's excellent. Yeah. Now, on the day, there will be 1 Grade 1 band, so they're basically just playing for sheets at this point. So, yeah, shout out to Ravara, who'll be there playing both medley selections on the day. So, this could be an opportunity to go and catch them at the very beginning of the season as they're working on their new competitive stuff before the major championships roll around. There you are. So, folks, for full information, including all of your drum major draw and all of that for Fermanagh, you can go along now to the rspbani.org, check all that details out. And, as I mentioned, anyone listening right now, I'm kind of gutted that I'm playing at the exact same time that Ballybrace is playing. Yeah, and other bands in there as well, like the Graham Memorial. I want to go and see them as well. And shout out to Brady Ulster Scots as well. Definitely want to catch them. Ah, come on. There's so many good bands that I'm going to miss. And that's one of the things, that I want to put out there on the show this week, that all of us in the Rab Show team, we are competitors, and sometimes a weekend can absolutely get away from us. We can't film every single performance because it just physically isn't possible. We can't compete with our band but also film performances at the same time as much as we would like to. So, yeah, we got a bit of heavy criticism at Guruk and all of that, but yeah, also a lot of questions asked about, previous competitions and why we didn't film certain performances, etc. Well, we were in the circle at the time and we couldn't. So, there you go. If you are wanting to help us, though, you can get in contact with us as always. Email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. And, hi, we'll do our best to cover every aspect of this competitive season as best we can, as well as being a part of it, I guess. All right, well, enough of the results stuff from all of that and the draws from Fermanagh. Let's move on. Well, do you know what? I'm going to stick with the results just for now. I want to give a mention to the Livingston Invitational, yes, which took place in Hamilton, Ontario there on May 9th. Now, we did neglect to mention this on last week's show. That's on me. My apologies. But yeah, I do have to give a shout out to Sean McConnochie, who managed to sweep the boards at both the Pembroke and the MSR Hornpipe Jig event. Well done to Sean. Now, the full results from all of that from the Livingston Invitational is published out there. You can go and have a look at it. And shout out to pipesdrums.com, who have written a bit of an article on the event itself. So yeah, just wanted to give a big shout out to Sean McConnochie. Absolutely sweeping the boards there. Congratulations. What a great event that was as well. We have seen some of the performances from that as well, and we have shared that out on socials. So, yeah, just a lot to enjoy there. Excellent stuff. Well done, Sean. All right. I want to get away from, competitive bagpiping for a little bit. Just a little bit. Bear with me. But, I want to talk about the Captain John A. McClellan MBE Memorial Dinner. Now, this rolls around every year. It's a very swanky affair in the Caledonian Hotel in Edinburgh, And I just know it as being like really swish. It's black tie, it's very glamorous. People get really dolled up for it, and it's a very swanky night out. Now, on the night itself, you're going to be treated to absolutely some of the best bagpiping available. And you can also get a big dinner, a big feed, all that stuff. It's just fantastic. All right, I know I'm kind of overselling it a bit, but shout out to the Eagle Pipers Society who run this event every year, and it sells out, and for good reason. Well, the reason I'm mentioning it on the show this week as well, the date has been announced. It's happening on the 29th of August, as mentioned earlier, in the Caledonian Hotel in Edinburgh, and tickets are available now. You can actually go and grab them. Go and secure your table and, grab your tickets for this event. Now, the lineup has also been confirmed of the amazing bagpipers who will be providing piping on the night, along with the judge and everything who will be judging them on the night. So we will have an eventual winner. Yeah, so look at this for a lineup. This is kind of ridiculous. We have Cameron Drummond, Craig Sutherland, Derek Midgley, and Callum Beaumont. Woo! Wow. So, of course, you have, the performances and all of that itself, plus you get a 3-course dinner, and then after that, I don't know, man, you'll be there to the wee hours, partying. Just absolutely fantastic. If you do want to check out more information, go and have a look on social media or follow the website and everything for the Eagle Pipers Association, and, go and secure your tickets for the John A. McClellan MBE Memorial Dinner. There you are. What's not to love there? That's brilliant. No doubt we'll be talking more about this as we get close to it. Yeah, it's such a stellar event, that. Now, speaking of stellar events, Pipe and Live have been absolutely flat out with the announcements recently. Have you seen all of these? They've been really difficult to keep up with. There's been so much announced since I was last talking to you. Now, obviously, we announced it here on the pod last week that we're heading back to Piping Live. Yay! Yeah, we already know that. So we're going to be there to celebrate episode 500 with all you folks with a massive, massive event on the main stage at Piping Live at the National Piping Centre. That in itself is huge. But there has been so many other huge announcements from Piping Live over this past week that kind of make your head spin. So my advice for now, head along to pipinglive.co.uk and hopefully their new website will be up and running. But I want to talk about a little bit of an announcement about bringing drumming to Piping Live, which for me is an absolute win. And I'm so glad to see this being introduced to Piping Live, and long may it continue. Piping Live is opening its stage to drum corps, yes, with their all-new drum corps series. And yeah, 4 Grade 1 Big Gun drum corps are going to be hitting the stage at Piping Live. Wow. Now, they're going to be main stage as well. This is one of the, I wanted to put this across. This is not a little thing that they're going to have in a side street somewhere. Oh, and you might hear a drum being hit somewhere. No, they have these Grade 1 drum corps center main stage at Piping Live every day, running from Monday through Thursday. Yeah, you're going to be, absolutely well entertained if you're a drumming fan, I'll say that. So, kicking things off on the Monday, we have the Simon Fraser University Drum Corps. Oh, wow. What a way to kick it off for drumming fans. Yeah. The following day, then we have Shots and Dykehead, Caledonia. Wow. We're not done. Okay. On the Wednesday, we just have Inverarian District on the stage. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Inverarian District will be there on the Wednesday. Oh, man. And then on the Thursday, the same day that Rab Show Live is taking place, hitting the stage is St. Lawrence O'Toole. Oh, come on. That deserves a round of applause, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So we have Simon Fraser University, Shots and Dykehead, Inverarian District, and St. Lawrence O'Toole lined up as part of their drum corps series. Now, I don't know, folks. People have been complaining about this now for a while, that there's not enough drumming at Piping Live. And then there's always the counter-argument, well, it's a piping festival. Why would you have drumming at it? Well, I don't know. I'm all for this. I think this is a smashing idea. And to have drum corps center stage like this, that's fantastic. So all of these events are all taking place at 1 p.m. in the afternoon on the main stage of Piping Live. Each one of those drum corps, go and watch them. All right? Trust me, you'll be thoroughly entertained. Even you pipers out there might not know much about drumming. Trust me, these folks know how to how to tear it up, I think is the word I want to use. Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, go and check it out. The Drum Corps series, a new introduction to Piping Live, just fantastic. And also, do go and check out all those other announcements, okay? Yeah, of course, there's been an announcement about the Gordon Duncan Memorial Competition. That's been lined up. There's also an announcement just put up today, at the point of me recording this, that the International Quartet Competition tickets are available. Yes, and also the Alistair Gillis Memorial Recital tickets are available for that as well. Yeah, so ticket sales are going kind of crazy at the moment already. So, yeah, my advice is if you haven't secured tickets for the events that you want to attend, please do so now. Go and grab them when they are available, because a lot of these events sell out incredibly quickly. Yeah, especially like those two events I just mentioned there, the International Quartets. You can't get through the door of the place. It's absolutely rammed every year, and for good reason. And also that Alistair Gillis Memorial, you just cannot get through the place. I know some people have actually tried to hang out outside outside the concert hall to see if they can hear anything. No, you can't, just to answer your questions. So if you are anyways curious, do go to pipinglive.co.uk, grab your tickets for the events that you want to see, including Big Rab Show Live, yes, or episode 500 celebration. Yeah, you can go and grab tickets for that as well. pipinglive.co.uk. My advice, go and grab your tickets now. Oh, well, speaking of grab your tickets, we need to talk about the pre-Worlds concert, as everyone knows it as. Yeah. True North Strong, 70th Fraser Highlanders. Yeah, I've been mentioning it now a few weeks on Fuse, and I've been telling people to grab tickets for it and avoid your disappointment. Well, at the point of me recording this week's pod, I did decide to have a look at the website at the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall just to see how ticket sales were going and is there many left? Because if I'm not telling people to go and get your tickets, well, are there even any left? Well, folks, I am actually looking at the website right now. Yeah, Glasgow Sky Association Pipe Band presents 78th Highlanders Pipe Band True North Strong. And you click on buy tickets now, and then it takes you to the little layout of the concert hall. And I'm going to click on the first one, which is the arena, which is sitting on the floor. 0 tickets left. 0. There's 2 spots available both to the left and to the right of the stage, which are wheelchair accessible. I'm not sure how many of those are available, but for every other seat on the arena floor, gone. As for the terraces, up along the sides, I would say there's about a handful there. Maybe 20, 15, maybe at most. Yeah, folks, I think all in all, whenever you're looking at the pre-Worlds concert, tickets for this are absolutely flying out the door. All right? So now I've been warning you now for weeks. So please don't come at me whenever it comes to the concert. Oh, Rob, can you give me a ticket for that, mate? It's all sold out. No, I absolutely can't. I am not the box office. That seems to happen every year. I don't sell tickets for this event. Once these tickets are gone, folks, they're gone. So that's my advice now. If you have any plans at all to attend this concert on the 12th of August and hang out with the 70th Highlanders, well, my advice is go and grab your tickets and avoid your disappointment. All right? 70th Fraser Highlanders, I can tell you now, will absolutely put on one heck of a show, and I'm very curious to see what True North Strong is all about. Now, I know the 70th, we've been talking about them on the show as being, kind of going through a stage of like reinvention. They're developing a whole new voice, and I, for one, am here for it. I really am looking forward to this concert, and I know a lot of other people who've also got tickets and are feeling exactly the same way. So, folks, my advice, I know it sounds like a huge shameless plug, but it's more of a warning than anything else. I'm trying to put it out there that if you do want to go right now, grab your tickets, and then, hey, you can say, hey, Rob, I took your advice and I got my ticket, mate. Well done. All right, do not be disappointed. Don't be that person who's texting me the night before going, any chance of a ticket for that True North Straw? No, there you go. So there, go and secure your tickets now. Pre-Worlds concert, 12th of August. Okay, it would be remiss of me if I didn't give these folks a bit of a shout on the show this week. First of all, I have to give a massive shout out to the County Armagh Drum Major class who were across in Edinburgh for the Tartan Day Parade. Now, you talk about brilliant seeing all of these drum majors in action all across the city. It wasn't just at the parade, but at little impromptu performances all across. Just fantastic to see that school just producing the goods. It was so good. So many talented drum majors. And it was just a fantastic display to see. Also, I have to give a mention to the Force drum major display team, who were also part of the Tartan Parade in Edinburgh. And they also had very similar kind of, sporadic performances all across the city. Just really well received to see drum majoring action from both from the Force display team and from the County Armagh drum major class. Just brilliant to see them both there and, putting on one heck of a show. Well done to everyone there. Also, I have to give particular mention to the Force because they were on stage with the Red Hot Chili Pipers as well. Now, we have uploaded little clips and stuff from that. We had a couple of Big Rab Show team members were there and managed to capture some quite cool moments. And, just a very special moment for the Force. Taken to the stage with the Chili's. Very cool. In front of a huge audience, I have to say, in the Usher Hall in Edinburgh. Really well received. To see drum majoring and some of the best piping from the Chili's, it was just brilliant. Also, I have to give a shout out to Ali the Piper, who was also across in Edinburgh as part of the celebrations in Usher Hall, and she actually managed to stop and take a little selfie with Adrian and Victoria from the Big Rab Show team. Yeah, which was a very cool moment. Thank you, Ollie. And yeah, she absolutely tore up the stage as well in Edinburgh. And a lot of people, as a result, have been asking questions about Ali and her music and everything. So we did get a number of emails asking, oh, does she have an album, or where can I hear more music from Ali? So yeah, we've been sending those links on to Ali's Bandcamp and everything where you can check out her music. There you go. So shout out to Ali the Piper, the Force Drum Major Display Team, and the County Armagh Drum Major class. And to everyone else that took part in that tartan parade. There were so many of you involved. So many bands, pipers, drummers, dancers even. There's so many folks out there that was just involved in quite a stellar event in Edinburgh City. Just fantastic. Well done to everyone. Okay, also this past weekend, I am very aware that there was a competition held in Germany. Now, I think we've shared out the live stream of the prize giving, the mass bands and everything that happened at the end of the competition. However, we are still keen to see some of the action that happened this past weekend at the Highland Gathering in Stad Park in Penn. Now, I could be completely mispronouncing that, and if I did, I apologise. Yeah. But I believe it is pronounced Penn. Now, if that's wrong, that's on me. Apologies. But yeah, this past weekend, the Highland Gathering in Stad Park in Penn. Yeah, I've seen a few little clips, mostly photographs from this, and then that one live stream that we got from the results and everything. So yeah, shout out to everyone who was there at the event. I have to give particular mention to the German Thistle Pipes and Drums who reached out to us last week. Just wanted to give you a shout. You were in action this past weekend yourselves. And yeah, uploaded photographs. I didn't see any video, guys. I'd love to see your run. And anyone else who was in the circle this past weekend there at that competition, please do send your performances our way, and we'd absolutely love to share that out there if we can. There you are. So, that's it. There's not much else news. I didn't see any published results anywhere from that one, so I am doing my best to try and find those. But perhaps I should go to Pipe Band Rankings. Maybe they may have it. But there you go. Anyway, so just to let you know what happened, and if anyone has those performances, do share them with us. We'd love to see some pipe in action from Germany. Brilliant. Also, just want to briefly mention and let you all know that the draw for the Mark Inch Highland Games, yes, thanks to the Dundee, Perth and Angus branch, has now been published. You can go and check all that out. Just published yesterday at the point of me recording this. So, yeah, looking forward to this. This event is taking place on the 7th of June and seems to have quite a big draw, actually. Starting with Novice B, we have 3 bands with the High School of Dundee, Burnt Island District and Edinburgh Academy. Looking at 4B then, we have 5 bands in here. We have Uddingston Strathclyde, the Vale of Athol, Queensferry Pipes and Drums, Kincardine District and Ullith. Ullith District? Is that me pronouncing it wrong? If so, I apologise. Moving on to Grade 4A and Novice A, which are combined. We have 7 bands in here in total. We have the High School of Dundee, Lochgilly High School Junior, Denny and Dunningpace, City of St Andrews, Kirkcaldy District, High School of Dundee, and that's the Novice B band. And we have the Edinburgh Academy Novice B as well. There you are. Moving on to Grade 3, then, with 10 bands in here in total. We have Methil District, Burnt Island District, Lochgilly High School Juvenile Band. Then we have Livingston, Caledonia. Then we have the Vale of Athol, Govan. Then we have Binbrook Lightnings, Denny and Dunningpace, High School of Dundee, Novice Juvenile A, and Lochgilly High School Junior, Juvenile A as well. Yes, so that makes up your Grade 3. Moving on to Grade 2, the ridiculous grade, we have the City of Edinburgh, Methil District, Burnt Island District, Lochgilly High School Juvenile Bands playing up in Grade 2. That'll be interesting. Then we have the Livingston Caledonia are up there too. There you are. Good stuff. Moving on, we have one band competing in Grade 1 on the day, and that is the City of Edinburgh, who's playing up there. There you are. So that is all available now on the Dundee, Perth and Angus branch website. The Mark Inch Highland Games taking place on the 7th of June. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Alrighty, do you know what? It's a good time to be a Field Marshal Montgomery fan. Yeah. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because, well, Field Marshal Montgomery have launched a full new lineup of all new merch. Have you guys seen this? Yeah, you can go to fmpb.com, Field Marshal Montgomery, pipeband.com, and yeah, check out their new merch, man. They have bucket hats and t-shirts and even sling bags and fleeces and all sorts of cool stuff. So all with that iconic Field Marshal Montgomery logo on it. Brilliant. So it's a must for any Field Marshal fan. Go and check out the brand new lineup of merchandise available go and check out their website. Some of it is quite sweet, actually. I'm considering getting some of this myself. Some real good stuff there. I really love their polo shirts, by the way. I'm a sucker for a polo shirt every now and again. Yeah. So there you go. Shout out to the Field Marshal and their new lineup of sweet merch. Good stuff. All right. So before I wrap everything up with this week's news and updates, I did want to mention something that isn't really bagpiping related, but is still important nonetheless. At the point of me recording this, this is Mental Health Awareness Week. Now, we have done previous episodes here on the Big Rab Show talking about all aspects of mental health and how it is vitally important, not only to yourself as a person, but it can also, as we're about to get into this week's topic, help with your playing. Whenever it comes to anxiety and, fear of performing and all of that kind of stuff, well, sometimes this bagpiping game can be particularly stressful, and it can affect people in different ways. And as we've said here on the Big Rab Show before, is that it's always good to talk. Yeah. We've spoken about this topic quite a number of times and can be quite sensitive for a number of listeners. So just wanted to draw your attention to it. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. And if you are anyways affected with mental health difficulties, just know that all of us here in your piping family, we're all here. You can chat away to any of us at any stage. And just wanted to draw your attention to one particular website, which is aware-ni.org. And that is the Northern Ireland version for the charity called Aware, which really helps a lot of folks with mental health difficulties. They have 24-hour support and all sorts of great support groups and counselling available for those who do need help. So I just wanted to put it out on the pod this week. Perhaps whenever you're attending band practice this week or next, maybe just take a little bit of time out, have a chat with your bandmates and see where everyone is. And as we've said here previously on a show before, ask how someone is. How are you? And then ask again. Right, folks, that's it for the news and updates. I think I will leave it there. For more information about Mental Health Awareness Week, you can just throw it into your search engine. There's been quite a lot of media campaigns recently all across here in the UK, all about Mental Health Awareness Week. It's quite prolific. It's everywhere. So it is quite an important topic. Yeah, so I wanted to draw your attention to it before we close out with the news and updates and get into talking about performance anxiety, which is all sorts of a crazy topic, but we have quite a renowned expert in the field to talk us through it. Yeah, I could have been doing with this podcast episode before I hit the stage with the quartets. But anyway, I'm hoping that in this week's topic, you'll be able to glean some little nugget of information that will really help you if you are struggling with the likes of anxiety when it comes to performing. There you are. So, folks, that's it for all of the news and updates. I think it's time for me to go and get myself a big cup of tea. It's time for the topic of the week.
Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies for all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom-designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Ghillie Brogues and George Boots, crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs. Marchify, the brand new home of Flam 5 drumming. Check out their brand new Strike bagpipe case, inspired by their colourful, popular and reliable Flam 5 drum cases. The Strike bagpipe case combines durability, style and practicality, protecting every movement. Shop now at marchify.co.uk with worldwide shipping available. Marchify, every movement protected. Okay, time for the topic of the week. Now, you have been waiting long enough, I think, at this point. It's been quite a busy week of piping and drumming, hasn't it? So we've covered a lot of ground. And we're about to cover some ground that we've already looked at before.
Yeah, performance anxiety. Now, I did mention at the start of the show, we have already spoke about this subject area. So my advice is if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I would go back and have a little listen to that topic of the week right now before you get a listen to this one, okay? Kind of gives you a bit of context of some of the ground that we've already covered, talking about the mental side of bagpiping. That episode was back in episode 284, and is absolutely fascinating. If anything, I still share that episode out to people who are asking about advice and guidance around the mental preparation stage, not just the playing part. We all know how to practice and how to get the playing bit right, but it's the mental side of it, and it's something that doesn't often get talked about much. But I believe the conversation around the mental side of bagpiping is absolutely getting better. And I thought at this point in this season, as bands are getting ready to hit the grass here in the UK, and people might be getting a little bit nervy and nervous, as we chatted about earlier, perhaps it's a good time to talk about performance anxiety and get into all of it. So let's not waste any more time. So, well, first of all, would you like to reintroduce yourself to everybody on the show? For those of you who might not know who you are.
Okay, so I'm Dr Fiona McConnochie, and I do what I call performance psychology. Originally, I'm a chartered sport and exercise psychologist, and I worked in a whole range of sports and also with Olympic gold medalists not that terribly long ago. I've also, because my background, which I love, has been in the traditional arts, piping and dancing, so did a lot of dancing when I was younger and did a lot of piping. And anyway, long story short, after parents taught me and all that, and doing sport and exercise psychology, I thought, well, I can use these transferable skills into piping and dancing. So I've been working for, I would say, the last 15, 16, 17 years in piping and dancing. That's with solo pipers, pipe bands, Highland dancers, as a traditional arts, as well as continuing with sports people. And I'm so passionate about it because it's my background. But it's amazing, just like sports or working in business, you find that about 80%, even higher, the biggest number of people that will contact me for support and help is all about anxiety and stress.
Really? Yeah.
It's the biggest one because you need consistency in performance. If you're going to be okay, if you're going to achieve, you need consistency in performance, and you need to be able, as I've said before, harness that excitement in the stomach and interpret it. It's all about your perception, your interpretation. The mind is a really powerful thing. It's how you interpret that excitement. If you went into a competition cold, you're not going to do anywhere near as good as getting that excitement. It's that excitement, as long as you interpret it positively, means that you're alert, you've got preparedness, and you're ready for action. And basically, you will get your optimal performance when you've got the excitement, the butterflies in your belly. But equally, if you've had a bad experience last time and you felt very, you felt all the physiological stuff and you felt really quite tense and you've really screwed up with your performance, the next time you feel like that, you're obviously going to have conditioned yourself to feel, oh dear, here we go, here's the butterflies, this is a negative scenario, and you'll interpret it in a negative way.
Absolutely. So it's all in how you use that fuel then, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's all in the mind, totally all in the mind.
Absolutely.
Your interpretation of it,
For sure. Now, we've covered this in a previous episode of the show. We did talk about the mental side of bagpiping, and we have a ton of questions all around that world of anxiety or stage fright, if anything. Yeah. So I've actually Googled around for a few answers and stuff because, well, I've been competing now as a bagpiper those last season or so, and I have never felt panic like it in my life. I've been snare drumming for 30 years, and I've done it from I was no age, and I think I was so conditioned that it never really bothered me. But now that I'm bagpiping, I've found that there is a term called piping panic.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an actual thing. But what I managed to Google is that it kind of triggers the body's fight or flight response. Whenever you're really anxious about a competition, it really affects everything. And for me, I'm sure everyone's going to agree listening to this. It's that you immediately start gripping the chanter like you're clinging onto a cliff.
Well, there's two things that happen primarily when we get, very anxious. First thing is we tense up like mad.
Yeah.
It causes, and also we have this belief that you've got to try as hard as you can. But if you do that, your fingers will tense up. You'll get exhaustion in your hands and they won't be able to play. Yeah. Also, it affects your breathing. We start to hold on to our breath. Yeah. And as a result of that, the body tenses up and the whole shebang goes spiraling downwards. Yeah. So not only do we become tense, and it makes our breathing erratic, which is terrible for reeds because we know how bad bagpipes are anyway.
Yeah.
But tenses the fingers up. And then we also have the mental stuff. And the mental stuff is big. Now, I want to kind of really, I never touched on it before in the previous session, I don't think. But we have two main differences here. We have what we call somatic anxiety, which is a physiological soma of the body. And we have cognitive, the mental stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
Now, we can actually have quite relatively high levels of somatic state anxiety, state being a competition we're going into, for example. But if we have high levels of cognitive anxiety, this is our perceptions, our judgments, that internal chatter, the rumination over the what ifs, or if we're thinking ahead of the competition or thinking what's just happened. When that gets really high, and if we have relatively high levels of the physiological anxiety, the somatic state anxiety, performance will massively decline and you'll enter into choking where you tighten up completely. The mind becomes rapidly internalized, ruminating over what you're doing and not being into an autotelic free flow state. And you can't get performance back. But what is important here is that, we can have quite high levels of physiological butterflies and excitement and all the rest of it. But the mind is what's known as a splitting factor. And that will cut right through performance. So if we don't get our head in the right place on the day, if the physiology is even relatively high and we've got the excitement in that, we can use that, particularly more experts can use that to get an absolute blinder of a performance, get their optimal performance. It's quite interesting. You have new people, say yourself, coming to piping. A lot of learners, a lot of beginners. Your main focus is on learning the tune, learning so many and breaking down so many things, skills, techniques that you've got to execute. As soon as you, as a learner or anybody who's at the beginning of the piping, goes in front of a judge or a crowd, that's adding extra demands. So that really pressurizes the individual. Now, an elite person, they will have confidence will act as a buffer for them most of the time. Their performance is so well refined, it's almost automatic.
Yeah.
And so when they get that little bit of excitement, they can harness that energy to produce a good performance,
I see. Yeah.
Potentially their optimal performance. But also, as I said, you've got your learners that suffer from anxiety, but also your elites do. Your living legends, because they're frightened of people clipping at their ankles. It's so hard to stay at the top. So their anxiety will be, what happens if so-and-so overtakes me and they beat me at that competition? And so it's anxiety provoking. And I've spoken to so many living legends and they all say the same. And you're like, you wouldn't believe that people at that top end would feel how you do, but in a different way. From beginners and learners, people just going out there.
Yeah, that's crazy to hear. Yeah.
And the most important thing is your focus. If the focus isn't right, everything goes to pot. So your focus, where the head goes, the body follows. I could give you an example. Ex-tutor of mine, wonderful living legend, was playing at the Northern Meeting. He had put on a new fob watch on the day to make it look nice. It kept catching his wedding ring.
Oh, right.
He started focusing on that. He broke down.
Oh,
and a elite performer. So as soon as the mind goes, the body follows. And where the eyes go as well, that's really important. You need to get yourself in what we call an autotelic state where you're not really focused on anything. You're focused maybe a little bit inwardly, internally, on you're the performance, but your performance is an extension of yourself, and it should be almost so automatic, free-flowing, what we call an autotelic state, that you don't really have to think about it. You are that performance.
I see.
So when you're practicing, a lot of focus goes on. Equally, if you're aware that your focus is starting to slide or you're thinking ahead during a performance, you bring it back.
I see, which is really difficult to do. I was going to ask you about this. Now, we call this in the Rab Show team, we've been talking about this, we call it the wee voice.
Oh, the black demons that come out. Oh, yes.
Yeah, like you could be in the circle and you're playing and you're really focused, and then the wee voice comes and goes, what am I going to have for dinner in the night? And you go, oh. And then, well, am I in the second part, third part? Oh, I have to play the repeat. Oh, no. And then it just goes completely out the window. How do you stop that wee voice?
Well, a lot of the time, it usually will say, did I just make a slight miss there? Was that correctly executed?
Yeah, aye.
What part am I on? And did that we just give a wee squeak there? Am I imagining it?
That exactly.
So we tend to try and use a key word that's important to you. Once you become aware and you train yourself, you practice yourself to then focus back again where the mind goes, the bodies, the fingers go, and the breathing too.
That's it. Yeah. That I've noticed it myself, even on competition. I go into the arena talking to myself. Okay, good introduction, right? Hold that A there. Don't forget about the F. Oh, you're blowing a bit. And then I'm talking to myself the whole way through. And it's that chatter. It's so difficult whenever you're trying to focus on the actual performance. And I'm sure a lot of players listening right now have that chatter. So is that something that
when
you
you're
can work
going
on?
in for your performance, you want it to be free-flowing. It should be that well practiced. I know you're saying that you're just getting into the competitions. You're fairly new to it. And it's funny, when you're kids and say you played the snare drum and say other people playing the chanter and that, as kids, we're not bothered about other people. We don't give a damn what others think about us. We just play. We love it, and that's it. So we don't experience the stresses. As soon as we hit teenage years, we're looking at what other people are thinking of us and evaluating us, and Jeezy Pip, it goes crazy. But the focus is really, really important.
No,
and we have what we call facilitators and debilitators. Facilitators are people that they manage to reframe negative thinking into positive thinking, the chatter, the internal demons that are self-sabotaging beliefs. And they also use visualization and what we call cognitive restructuring, changing negative thinking into positive. And they use that more before competitions, whereas your debilitators or the chatter people.
Yeah, that's it, and cuts them down, I guess.
You're not going to get that consistency in performance, and that's what you're wanting to do. A lot of the top end of people that I've spoken to, your world champions and high-end people, they always tell me, and this is where they get the consistency in performance, I know what I have to do on the day.
Yeah.
And they just deliver. They just do it. They might not always win on the day, but they know what to do, and it becomes automatic for them.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, it kind of rings true as to what we witnessed at the World Championships last year. I think even Bob Worrell in his commentary mentioned this. Like Stuart Little at the front of Inverarian District walked up to the line to play their big medley on the Saturday. Now, you would have thought that man would be a bag of nerves. But he looked so chilled out and so relaxed. He even had time to fix his chords on his pipes. And he was sitting foot there and Bob even passed a comment saying, so relaxed,
Right.
And as you say, it just seemed to be another day at the office for him. So
that's where you need to be. It doesn't always happen. And also, we don't know what was going on in Stuart's mind.
That's it too.
We don't know what goes on. We're hoping he had that little bit of excitement. And my goodness, what a performance. That slow air was just so haunting. It was amazing. I won't forget that in a hurry. But even, I said, your elites, they'll still suffer anxiety. As Field Marshal going to Peppers, as some, anybody else. The standard is so high. And this is another factor that adds to all the stresses, is this win-win-win notion. There's so many people in it now. The standards, the gold bar has risen so high.
Yeah.
I mean, practically everyone in grade one would previously have been a world champion. who haven't, with their performances. It's outstanding, the performances. So they're going in like these warriors trying to beat each other. But the pressure to succeed and win, that social thing that we have. And also it gets away from the love of what we do. We need to kind of sometimes, I've been working with a Canadian champion at the moment. And, sometimes people say this has got to be perfect and that has got to be perfect. And they use this whole notion of perfection. And it's almost like a stranglehold, because every performance, however brilliant, there's always even a tiny thing that you can improve upon. So I say to people, don't use the word perfect. A little bit of ugliness is okay.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
It takes that relief off you. But people become totally preoccupied that they've got to, everything has to be perfect. Just chill a bit. It doesn't matter. Do it. Love what you're doing and be the music. As Finlay MacDonald once said to me, be the music. Well, actually, you're an extension of your performance. You are that performance, yeah.
That does ring true, actually. If anything, I did receive some advice from my own piping tutor recently, and I'll share that at the end of the interview, which kind of rings true as to what we're talking about there. Be the music and all of that. Yeah. One of the questions that I got from one of the Rab Show team members is that, say you do notice that you are going over that tipping point where you're nearly getting too nervous, too anxious to hit the line. Is there anything you can do to kind of bring yourself back? Kind of, settle it again.
That's $1 million question. Well,
yeah.
If you haven't practiced any interventions and suddenly doing it, you're probably not going to get there very well. There is loads and loads of different interventions. And I'll just kind of remind viewers, if you think of a quadrant, 3/4, 3 of those out of 4 squares is that hard practice that you put into what you're doing. That one little quarter, 25%, is the mental stuff. So you put all that hard work in with your pipe band, with your tutors, you practicing yourself for hours and hours. But if the mind isn't in the right place on the day, everything gets thrown out the window. So it becomes vital. Now, there's lots of things. So the first thing I would basically say is you need to practice different techniques in order, just like a multivitamin, taking that, a supplement to get yourself ready. Like you practice physically, you need to practice mentally so that you get your consistency and performance. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to basically train in these different things so that you learn to relax. First thing, get your enjoyment back and throw on over your shoulder the notion of perfection. Okay, little bit of ugliness, brilliant, and it takes that whole pressure off. And love what you're doing. We do it because we're passionate about it. Always remember that.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing is to become aware of what agitates you. Are you more bothered by the internal chatter, the what-if statements, thinking ahead? How am I going to do? Am I going to win? Am I going to lose? Oh, I've done very well. I've talked about pipers in the past at the Glenfiddich competition, a certain individual, and he's won it twice since now. But he did a wonderful P-Brot in the morning. Everybody told him, and he knew himself. He did a wonderful P-Brot beginning of the Glenfiddich. Afternoon, he completely broke down because he put so much pressure on himself. If I just come in here, and he thought ahead about winning and losing, the outcome. We don't think ahead. We could do the best performance of our lives and still not win.
Yeah.
You know, we can't control judging, and because it's a subjective sport, and we can't control how good or bad other people are. The only people we can control is ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's thinking ahead. So that's just an example. That's thinking positively ahead. Equally, we can think, oh, I've just made a wee slip there, or, and you start ruminating while you're playing.
Oh, big time, going over and over it. Yeah.
You've got to get your focus back. So keywords can help you get your focus back with practice and training. So first of all, you've got to become aware whether you're more bothered by the internal negative chatter and your physiology, or are you more bothered about the external factors, other people, and looking at, are they better or worse than me? How are they doing? How's that pipe band doing? Oh, they're sounding much better than I thought they'd be. All this stuff going through. Are you bothered about the judges writing down? I used to hate that. Every time, I was playing a march and you see them frantically writing and you're like,
what are they writing?
What did I do?
Yeah.
And I always found that personally very off-putting. So you've got to become aware. Do you internalize? Are you an internalizer or an externalizer, bothered about phones, audience chatter, judges, all other people? Once you become aware, then there's something you can do about it. So a couple of little tips. There's lots of on-site tips, but say if you're bothered by the internal stuff at a competition, you need to externalize. You need to do the opposite. So if you're bothered by your physiology, you're feeling a bit nauseous, your legs are tight, your fingers are tight, you're sweating and all that, and your what ifs are going on in your head, go into where your pals are, chat to the pipe major, chat to other folk, have a good laugh, externalize your thinking.
Right.
Little trick.
Yeah.
If you're the other way around and you're bothered about planes going overhead, judges, other players, audience members, what have you, then you internalize. You go to a quiet place, you internalize. You could do some breath control techniques, and you focus inwardly. So
I see.
that's just a little tip.
That's really useful, actually. Do you know, I have some bandmates who do that. And at a competition, I've seen this where they just talk all day. And I'm wondering, like, how are they coping? You know, and I'm quite a quiet person, believe it or not, even though I'm doing this podcasting thing. But I would be very quiet on the day of a contest because that's kind of how I bring myself back down to earth, you know? That's really interesting. Yeah, how people can cope in different ways. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
There you go. So, well, honestly, some real sound advice there. And for anyone that is going to be hitting the circle this year and do find themselves in a state of panic going, oh my word, it's a major championship. Oh my word, if I make a mistake, I'll let everyone down, blah, blah, blah. All of that kind of stuff. I think what we're saying here is that the work goes on at home. You know, the mental side of it. You've got to work on
the mental stuff at home, and there's lots that you can do to help. But you must become aware, first of all, of your individual psychological states before you can cope with your emotions and your feelings. And then it doesn't matter how much anxiety or stress you experience, you can cope with it.
You can deal with it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because again, you're wanting this consistency. You don't want erratic performances, you want consistency.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. Well, before I do let you go, there was one thing that we did mention on the last time I had you on the show, and people were fascinated about this. And a lot of people want to put it into practice. We spoke about visualization, and we did speak about, you know, people actually visit the circle or the arena that they're going to be competing in, and they kind of visualize being in there and all of that. How important how useful is visualization?
It can be extremely powerful, extremely powerful. And people think, oh, come on. Now, it doesn't work for everybody. Some people find, just the odd person I've found throughout working in sports and with pipers, dancers, a whole lot, have found it interfering, but majority don't. Now, the trick to this, I would say, is using visuomotor behavior rehearsal, VMBR. Okay. And what you do, you would use a very quick on-site, relaxation technique. So you would use progressive relaxation first of all, and then you would go into your visualization. Now, I like to talk about things. The three most important things that when you're practicing and getting ready mentally is doing a post-competitive analysis after your last competition, is the week before, and then including the night of the competition, the night before, and then the day of it. And here's when you use your visualization and your relaxation techniques to get yourself to habitualize and become more relaxed. It's important either if you know where you're going, either if you can have a practice there beforehand. I'll give you an idea. Years ago, we've all heard of Torval and Dean, fantastic pair of figure skaters, figure dancers. Yeah. And they got up. It was in the Olympics. Oh, I forget the place now. Norway somewhere. And they went down to the ice rink about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning so that they could habituate themselves, get used to the sights, the sounds, the smell of the place. So they got used to it. So that when they weren't going in cold to the place, it wasn't like a warm up and then straight on to competing. They were used to it. And they always said that was important. So if you can't do that physically, if you've been to that competition before, go through it, visualize it. Visualize yourself from an internal, as if you're playing yourself, and from an external observer watching yourself, pre-performance routine. So image where the competition is, the sights, the smells, the sounds, the chatter of other people. Use all your senses, including your emotional sense, making it as vivid as possible. And you have to practice that for over a series of nights. It takes a wee while to work, but say 3 weeks, you'll get into it with consistent practice and go through, a successful routine. So your pre-brock and going through each of the parts and so on, your medley, certainly your MSR. And then it's not just seeing and kind of kinesthetically, feeling doing it, but it's also the sense, the emotion that accompanies that of satisfaction afterwards that you've got to tie in. So what you need is your relaxation, first of all, then followed by your visualization. So a very, very quick progressive relaxation technique I'll give you here. So you would focus on 4 areas instead of everything. This would take about 5 minutes. So head and neck is one main area muscle group. Arms and hands is the second main muscle group. Your chest, your shoulders, your back, and your abdomen are another major group, and then legs and feet. So you've got to be careful you don't try and tense your backside if you're trying to screw your face up. So basically what you've got to isolate these 4 areas. Yeah. But basically you're maximally contracting, frowning, tensing, and then immediately releasing. Now you would do that for 5 seconds, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, etc. Right. Then release for 5 seconds, do it 5 times for each of those 4 main muscle groups. Then once you're relaxed, you can then progress to your visualization. Now, when you're doing progressive relaxation, it shows you can't be tense and relaxed at the same time. Right. And it shows you the difference between really tensing and then being relaxed. And also the main thing is, this is a somatic, this is a physiological technique. It will have a crossover effect too with the mind. And we find if you use somatic techniques, physiological techniques, they will have a crossover effect and relax the mind, and vice versa. If you use mental stuff, it will relax the body.
I see, yeah. Okay. So one sort of plays on the other. Yeah, I understand, yeah. There you go. That's interesting. So now I can completely understand why so many people go and visit Glasgow Green when they're setting it up. When the gates haven't been officially locked down yet. There's so many people that you can see wandering around in the arenas, and they're just like looking around. Some people like to snap selfies and stuff.
You're getting totally comfortable with the situation. And if something has changed that year, again, you're getting comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's it. So no, it makes all perfect sense. Yeah. And even in your own practice room at home or wherever it is that you practice, I've heard talk of some people actually putting photographs up of the venue so they could, like, as they're standing playing, they can visualize that they're there.
Yeah.
Really useful. Yeah. So
also with visualization, you can visualize yourself, what you're likely to typically be when you're nervous. Then you can visualize yourself, what you would really ideally want to be like, how you're cool, calm, collected. You've got a little bit of that adrenaline going through you, but you're capitalizing that, it's important, and how you're going to then get your optimal performance. But how you're just cool, calm, and collected, quietly confident, and you've got that alertness and preparedness there,
as fuel for the fire.
You want to be in, ideally.
Absolutely.
The other thing too is, oh God, what was I thinking here? Yeah. And this is a big thing I've been working on with a number of different people right at the moment. And it's be non-judgmental of your performance on the day.
Oh, that's hard to do.
Yes, but practice it. Do not assign a value judgment, either good or bad, to your performance. Once one performance is out of the way, there is nothing you can do about that. Yes, post-competitive analysis, end of day, when it's sharp in the mind, or at the next class of practice, you can do it then. You can't do anything to that performance, it's gone.
That's
but
true.
If you start ruminating about that performance, you're not being task-oriented, you're not being performance-oriented on the next set or medley or whatever tune you're going to play.
That's really sound advice there. Yeah, I know some players can beat themselves up for weeks over one slip in the circle, and it happens to everyone. Yeah. Difficult for musicians. I think we are critical people. We are very self-critical.
Well, I have somebody. I'm working with somebody who is world class, and they've come back after injury. And this person would get their instructor to take a video of them performing, and then after that performance, they would analyze it to death and then get ready for the next one. Right. I was like, stop doing that. Completely stop doing that. You've got plenty of time. If you're so keen, do it at the end of the competition, or if not, at your next practice session. Right. But it was totally getting your focus away. Focus. Where the mind goes, the body follows. If you start ruminating and it's nagging at you at the back of your head, you're not going to be ready and prepared for your next thing. So you've got to train the mind to do that. Keywords, draw it back. Keywords, draw it back.
I love that.
Stop or focus.
Absolutely. I'm sure that'll ring true for a lot of folk listening right now. They're probably taking notes, yeah.
The other thing too, which I've just thought of, you might have two pipers, or we'll give an example, two pipe bands, but say two pipers exactly match. There's not a feather between them. And we've been in many situations, we've seen that.
Yeah.
It's the one that has the conviction of beliefs that will do the best performance. Any doubt that creeps in, mental stuff.
I see. Then it goes
so
out
believing
the door.
In yourself is so important. Being slightly cocky about your playing. You want to showcase it. You want consistency, and you want to be able to showcase your performance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, really sound advice there. So, well, I'm going to tell you that little story then at the end of all of this. I have been, the band I'm competing with, I have been really struggling with like blowing and phrasing and different things. I've been really getting in my own way. And that was the advice that I got from my tutor over the past couple of weeks, was just stop thinking, Rab. You're getting in there and you're thinking so much about everything. You're blocking everything. And
the mind can jar performance if you think too much. Yeah. I've been at competitions and I'm like, how on earth does that third part go in that home pipe? And then you thought, in fact, gamesmanship, a great gamesmanship thing, which people have done in the past, is to go up to somebody and compliment them on, I love that part that you play, your crooners and that thing. Crooners and that, they're fabulous. Next minute, you start thinking about that, then you start analysing. Very cruel.
They start getting into the weeds with it. Yeah, exactly. So, no, I think that was it. Just be the music. Get out of your own way.
And the mind goes, the body follows. You've got to be totally committed to it.
Oh,
but it's
fantastic.
Easy for the mind to wander. Yeah.
It is, but no, I think we've had some real sound advice there, pardon the pun. Yeah, but thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. This has been really valuable.
Very welcome.
Thank you. And good luck to everyone else out there that will be hitting the competition circle in the next few weeks. And hopefully this week's pod has helped you. So thanks so much for joining us on the show this week. Thank you.
Okay, bye, Rab. Thanks, bye.
There you are. Some fantastic advice there. And a huge thank you to Dr. Fiona McConnochie for joining us here on the show. Yeah, I know the pun rings true, sound advice, but it is absolutely. So, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've managed to get a little bit of at least one of those nuggets of information is definitely very useful for a lot of players. Now, not just for pipers as well, I must add, but drummers also face this as well. So, I don't know. Such a worthy conversation, and one of which I think we may well revisit again. It is such an important element of competitive piping and drumming that sometimes just doesn't go unsaid. Do you know what I mean? We just don't talk about it enough. So, hey, that's my opinion, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Hopefully you've managed to glean some sort of use from it. And yeah, if you have, please do share it with your mates, share the wealth of knowledge, and hopefully everyone will not be shaking in their brogues the next time they're standing on the line. All right, folks, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thank you all for downloading this week and each and every week. And hey, as we've said, please tell your mates about our wee show, about what we're doing over here, talking about what we know and love to be the music, the great Highland bagpipe and its people. Yeah. Also, don't forget there's a link in your show notes right now to go and check it out on Patreon, where we do have a wealth of extras back there. Patreon exclusives that don't see the light of day anywhere else, including possibly a little postscript episode following this one, where we continue the conversation with Dr. Fiona McConnochie, talking even more about performance anxiety, stuff that hit the cutting room floor that you may want to hear. So you can check that out on Patreon. That'll be up there now in a few hours. There you are. All right, folks, I am out the door. As I've said, best of luck to everyone if you are going to be competing this weekend. And if you are, do send us in your Rab Show selfies and all that. And we'll catch up with you next week for even more bagpipe and goodness and the start of the 2026 season here in Northern Ireland particularly, but in the UK in general. And we'll be doing a full season preview next week. I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope you can join us, and I'll see you all next week. Until then, all the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show Podcast. All the best.